So this is my progress on my LMS through Module 7. So for Module 7, I did the first, well, I guess the first and second week of my first unit, which is the narrative unit in English 3. So the first week is just those first 3 days back where we'll do an opening activity on self-reliance. So we'll do the syllabus day and classroom plan on Thursday. And then Friday is the day where we'll do introductions and students will get their first assignment that will be a part of their first module. I'm calling the modules lessons. So module 1 is lesson 1.1, one for, well, the first one for unit 1 and the second one for the first lesson of the unit. So my first lesson or module is there's 6 things that they need to do. I'm going to have them sign up for Remind Text Alert, so this link takes them to a PDF that shows them how to sign up. I'm also going to have them set up link conversations with me. So I haven't created it yet, but I will create a screencast that will show them how to do that, where they can search for me on link, add me to their contacts, and then send me a message. So one thing that's mentioned in my syllabus is that I have link office hours after, well, in the evenings on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 8:30. So it's just a time that if anybody has questions about any work they're doing that week, I'll be online and they can just shoot me a message or we can have a quick conversation if they need to. There will also be a parent letter that we went through in week 1 that basically acknowledges that parents have read the syllabus and all that kind of stuff. So that will need to be returned to me during that first week. I also, and this is one of the I guess the formative assessments I created, there's an assessment survey for them to complete. So in week 1 on Monday, or I'm sorry, I guess week 2, but with lesson 1, on Monday we're going to unpack their first assessment, which is the narrative. So we'll go through the assignment sheet and the rubric and important terminology that they'll need to know. And at some point during the week, there's a survey that I would like them to complete, which basically just allows them to let me know how comfortable they feel at this point writing narratives, since they will have at least written 2 narratives, maybe even more from their previous English classes. But I'd like to know how they feel at this point, what their level of comfort is, and why they rated themselves. And then based on the skills and knowledge that we unpacked from the assignment and the rubric, I want them to tell me which skills and knowledge they anticipate they'll need maybe extra assistance with during the course of the unit, and any skills or knowledge that they feel fairly competent in, where they feel that they could help other students who might need extra help. So that's the first formative. Then there is an office mix that I created, and I still am having a hard time and figuring out how to embed the questions within the office mix. And I thought that you guys had said that there was a way to do it when you're not at home, and I'm just kind of missing it, so I'll make sure to ask that question during our face-to-face. But the office mix that I created goes through a bunch of different narrative elements, and then I have at the moment another Google form that has some questions for them to reflect on after the office mix. So one question helps them start to brainstorm maybe possible ideas for the story that they'd like to write about, some practice using imagery to describe a room, so that will help me see how well they're understanding imagery. And then another element that we talked about with narratives is intimate detail to help really develop characters. So I asked them to come up with one for a friend or family member, and I provided an example for them. just going back then to this lesson 1.1. The other formative assessment for this week is for them to complete an introduction letter. So I write I write a letter to my students kind of introducing myself to them, and then their first like major writing assignment is to write one back. And I use this letter as a writing diagnostic. And then after I have a chance to read the letter and provide feedback and again, this is something that I need to still complete, but I'm using the shared OneNote binder as an enrichment notebook where I will include extra activities and lessons to either provide extra practice for students that want it or needed extra practice for students that I see are maybe a little bit behind. So some of the things that I'd be looking for with the writing diagnostic with the letter of introduction would be sentence structure issues like run-ons, comma splices, fragments, and then subject-verb agreement, parallel structure, and well, I guess that's it, those three things. So what I will eventually have in this binder are practice questions that will help them practice those three different skills in the event that I identify that they need some extra help. I think that is it for Module 7. Oh, I guess the other thing is on the calendar, what I've decided to do is I post the weekly modules or lessons on Sundays, and then I have basically the topic for each class period. But I do include, like, if we have, for example, a split day, what that means is that I'll have the class split. So in one group, they would be working on the office mix during class this day, and then any other tasks from the first lesson they need to complete. And then I'd have the other half of the class with me reading through a short story and analyzing the plot pyramid, and then typically the next day the two groups would switch. So that's one thing that I've decided to do with the calendar.